Jennifer Eileen, and I am so delighted to welcome you to my cafe, my Pet Info Cafe. Pour yourself a warm cup of your favorite and let's chat about our love of animals. Today I would like you to meet the volunteer team who are dedicated to helping homeless pets find their way to loving homes through rescue and adoption. Please welcome the Lost Dog and Cat Rescue Foundation volunteers, Kelly Turek, Stephanie Ferry, Dave Jones, Jennifer Moss, and our very important guests, our dogs, Jade and Tinkerbell. So welcome, Kelly and Dave.
Thank you.
Jade, thank you very much for joining us. We are so happy to have you here. And we want to hear more about what you do, Lost Dog and Cat Rescue Foundation, and we want to hear about Jade.
Well, thank you so much for having us.
Yes.
So I'm actually the volunteer program manager at Lost Dog and Cat Rescue, and I joined only 2 years ago, but it feels like it's home. And so my role is really to bring in people to show them all of the opportunities that we have for volunteering at Lost Dog. We really have a very unique opportunity, I think, for our volunteers because there are no set schedules, if you will. People come and they fill the role that they feel called to fill. And in some cases, like with Dave here, then that grows and changes over time. So, you know, we have a lot of people who are dog walkers, but people who help with cats, people who help with medical records, drive vans to events so that dogs can get adopted. We have, you know, other people who handle those dogs at adoption events.
Yes.
And then people behind the scenes that might never actually see the dogs in person, but help facilitate them getting adopted through interviews and doing our marketing, social media. It's so amazing to get those dogs connected to those potential adopters.
That's fabulous. Yeah. So have you been a dog walker?
I have been a dog walker. I filled several shoes, which also includes I was a cat foster coordinator for a while. And so I have a kitty at home who was my first foster.
Oh, yeah, one of those.
But it's been a wonderful experience to connect with so many of these animals and the people that care about them.
Yes.
You know, we're really, I feel like we're a community.
Yes.
Yeah.
I definitely have that feeling. And so Dave, over to you. Tell us about your adventures and
So I started as a dog walker
Yeah.
just before the pandemic. So that was a challenge going through different protocols at the facility. Then I kind of filled in wherever I thought there was a need. I'm on the maintenance team. I pull preventatives weekly for the fosters that have dogs at home. I'm a greeter, during the week. So I've done, special projects around the facility. So just kind of help out wherever Dawn, needs a hand.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah. Well, such as now. Now you and Jade look like lifelong friends, but I understand you just met. Can you tell us something about Jade?
Well, Jade is 4 years old. She's very chill. Takes a while to warm up, but when she gets to know you, she gets rather friendly rather quickly. So she's come from a shelter in Emporia, Virginia. So hopefully we won't have her too long. Normally we don't.
She's so beautiful. Just that color is just so beautiful. She was already jumping up on you and checking it all out. So you mentioned some of the rescues that you had worked with recently, the beagles and some others. Can you tell us more of some of the special rescues you've had and the special dogs you've met?
Well, the special dogs, I kind of gravitate to the more senior dogs or those that come in and they're, timid and, skittish. So, even if it's just sitting in the kennel with them to make sure that, they're comfortable and they know they're in a good place and get them, acclimated so we can take them to events and get them adopted. So.
Yeah, very good. And you've, any great dog walking stories, taking dogs out and what that's like?
Well, taking dogs out, it's you got to be careful because we're in a facility right next to a very busy shopping center. So we have to be careful in making sure that the loud noises or trucks or other activity is safe for the dogs. So kind of ones that stick to mind, there was one that came in, Marcus, who would just sit in the back of the kennel. He was so afraid. And so after sitting with him for a while, just playing music on my iPhone, he got to be able to be more comfortable, took treats out of my hand. And so, he's starting to come around. So those type of events really, warm my heart.
Oh, that's really beautiful. Thank you so much. Well, how did you get started as a volunteer?
Growing up, my parents always, adopted shelter dogs, so I had that instilled in me to, save a life.
Yes.
So when I retired, I wanted to, give back, and over the years, as I became adult, I've, adopted 4 dogs from Lost Dog. They were the, PetSmart local organization. So I was familiar with them, and then I had learned they've got this, facility in Eden, next to Eden Center in Falls Church. And so I went online and found out that, they had volunteer opportunities, and that was that.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you. Kelly, what would you tell someone who wants to volunteer?
Oh, well, there are so many ways. If you have a love or a compassion for animals, I think that it's just, you can do so many different things with our organization. Like I said, that makes us a little bit unique. So whatever your gift is, or the thing that you want to spend your time giving is, we will try to find a place for you in our organization. But it pays back in dividends, right? I mean, you just can't beat that quality time. I call some of our dog walkers dog grandparents. They get all the good feels, and the dogs benefit so much, and then they can help other dogs too. It's a little transitory, but it's so rewarding.
That is just a wonderful thought. So let's close on that thought, and we'll be meeting some more volunteers very soon. Thank you both very much. And thank you, Jade.
Yes.
Thank you.
Our pleasure, yes.
And now let's hear from Dawn Wallace, Executive Director, about Who Rescued Whom.
Favorite part about volunteering here?
My favorite thing about volunteering,
This. Just seeing the impact you can have on dogs.
Just coming here and not thinking about anything but just hanging out with some animals and helping them and being outside, I can't think of much better actually.
Lost Dog and Cat Rescue Foundation is a nonprofit organization, so we are a 501c3. We are a rescue, so we work with shelters who are experiencing overcrowding or they're overcapacity, or they have animals that are at the risk of euthanasia, and we transfer those animals to us, where we're able to then care for them here in our rescue care center, be able to get them into foster homes, both dogs and cats, which gives them an opportunity to find a loving home and get adopted. On an annual basis, we intake and adopt out about 2,200 to 2,500 dogs and cats. In the past 20 years, we have successfully saved and adopted out over 40,000. We are closer to about 45,000 now. So the organization is really unique in its structure in the fact that we are primarily powered by volunteer manpower. On any given day, we have about 3 or 4 paid employees. There are animal care technicians, and on average, 30 to 50 volunteers that are cycling into the building on a daily basis. Now, the volunteers play a role because they absolutely expand everything that we do here at the Rescue Care Center. So things like dog walking, caring for cats in our cat room, giving them exercise, giving them play groups where we take our dogs outside and our dogs get a chance to interact with each other. They get a chance to be dogs, basically, and play. And all the other elements, enrichment, we have so many ways that people can get involved here. There's a lot of opportunity to figure out what fits for each person, and that we don't care what that is. I don't care if it's an hour they come in and spend or they choose to be here all day long with us. We're happy and grateful for every moment that our volunteers are helping. And we know that they will experience that giving back, and that's what will keep them coming back again and again and again.
My favorite thing about volunteering here,
My favorite part, knowing that you're, number one, taking care of animals that need our help, and number two, when you fall in love with a cat or a dog and they receive a good home, I mean, that's just the best.
I'm a huge dog person, so I really enjoy it. I get to spend time with the dogs.
Just seeing them happy is what makes me happy.
Being around the animals, of course, just making friends, perhaps.
You feel like you do something special.
The dogs. That's why I'm here. I just love to be around them, and they're wonderful.
The easy answer to that is the animals. If in the heart of every volunteer, their focus is being able to be part of that dog or cat's day, you know, the saying "who rescued who" becomes a very real thing, I believe, for most volunteers. And when their focus is focused on the animals, it's what brings them back.
Welcome back to Pet Info Cafe, and I'm so delighted to be here with Kelly, Stephanie, and Tinkerbell. So welcome. It's wonderful to talk to more volunteers and to hear more about you and to meet Tinkerbell.
Yes.
Kelly, Stephanie, tell us about this beautiful, beautiful dog.
So Tinkerbell came to us last month. She's about 2 years old.
Aww.
And she came from one of our partner shelters in the south of Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're her temporary holding place. We're her temporary home until she finds that forever home.
Oh, that's perfect. That's wonderful. Stephanie, tell us about all the wonderful volunteer experiences you have. Where did you start?
Yeah, so I started as a dog walker and just going to the shelter like once or twice a week. And then I was very drawn to the DogVenture program and wanted to get involved because I don't own a pet of my own and I was missing being around dogs. So I was like, this is a cool opportunity. You can take a dog out for a day and get the experience of being around dogs without owning a dog. So I became a part of that and would do that on Sundays. And then it's grown from there. So after that, I was asked to be a virtual foster, which is basically the dog lives at the rescue and you're the dog's advocate. So you meet with potential adopters and they're dogs that kind of have some more, typically won't go to events. So there's a little bit of a different path for them to be adopted. And I help coordinate with the adopters and get to spend lots of time getting to know those dogs. And then I recently joined Playgroup, which is a fun way to see the dogs get out. And each dog gets out in Playgroup every day, and it's a way for them to enjoy and kind of relax. So like Tinkerbell, for example, she was just added into Playgroup. She was very, very shy, and she started to come out of her shell, and she's really been enjoying it.
Hi, honey. I think she's coming out of her shell. I think that's definitely what's happening. Yeah. And I smell like cats, so I'm sure I'm very interesting, aren't I? Oh, yes, I love you too. Well, thank you for that. Any memories or particular dogs that were the most memorable for you?
I have definitely a few. I've had, I think, 9 or 10 virtual fosters in the last year and a half that I've volunteered at Lost Dog. One in particular, his name was Zach. He was a blue heeler as well. And he had a lot of fear. So when he came back to the rescue, we worked on his fear, and he was so scared that he wasn't able to get in a car. So it took about 2 months to get him used to going in the car. And then he was finally ready for adoption, and somebody reached out, and it was actually his brother's adopters. So when he came to Lost Dog, he came with a sibling. They both went their separate ways. Zach came back to us. And then a year later, he was adopted by his brother's adopters. So it was such a happy story.
That is a happy story, and it's just struck me. She's a blue heeler.
Yeah.
So our theme music by Matt Thomas is written for his dog, Sky, who was a blue heeler.
Oh,
and that's our theme music for the show. So I didn't realize that when we brought Tinkerbell that there was that connection. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
It's very, very special. Well, those all sound like really just wonderful experiences. Kelly, what's your perspective on the virtual foster?
So virtual
experience?
foster is such a wonderful opportunity. One of those things I think we have that is unique. Some of those dogs that are in our rescue care center that need a little bit of extra time to get adopted, to find the right family. And so they're going to need a little help. And so the virtual foster is that person. They're the advocate. Just like if you had a foster dog in your own home, you would be their advocate. And so they're the advocates on site. And it's just, I think, helped those dogs that have a harder time just so much. And it really, it personalizes it. You know, we all come to love the dogs that are in the rescue, but you learn so much more about them. You identify so much more with them when you know somebody who's working with them and you know somebody who's spending that time, I think.
Yes, that's really special, and it's very unique to be able to do that combination of mentoring and fostering virtually. That's very unusual. It's a great solution for these days. Really love that story. Hi there, Tinkerbell. She's all settled down now. That's just great. So what other volunteer opportunities or experiences have you had, Stephanie?
So some other experiences. Currently, I have 3 virtual fosters. I used to have a rule that I would have 1 at a time. And then that changed a little bit, and I couldn't say no to helping the 3 virtual fosters that I currently have. So through my virtual foster experience, I am now at the rescue every day. So my going to the rescue starting off a year and a half ago, going once has changed to going every day.
Wow.
And it's something that I look forward to, and I think that the dogs also look forward to.
Oh, yeah.
So the staff jokes that one of my virtual fosters can hear my car coming, which I think he can. And his name's Clayton. And when I come to the rescue, he starts barking because he knows I'm there. And he wants me to come say hi to him. So it's really rewarding. And the dogs start to have a connection with you, and you have a connection with them.
Oh, yeah.
So it's very, very fun.
That's just a wonderful story, and thank you so much for sharing it. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Tinkerbell. Welcome back to Pet Info Cafe, and I'm delighted to invite a new volunteer with Tinkerbell, Jennifer and Kelly. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you, Tinkerbell, for being such a special guest. Okay, good. You just rest a little bit there. So I'd like to hear all about DogVentures. It sounds like just such a fascinating opportunity, and we're in a very transient kind of environment, people coming in and out. And I just tried to talk one of my coworkers into having some temporary dog walking just to keep him company while he was in town for a month. But tell us about DogVentures, who it's right for, how you like it. Would love to hear all about it.
Well, I love DogVentures, and it's such an amazing concept. And it's basically taking a dog out on an adventure. And the adventure can be taking the dog out for a day, like out for a hike, or it could be an overnight stay in your home. It's really a nice opportunity. And so what I typically do is I take dogs to parks. So there's a lot of local parks in the area, and we go on hikes and go on the different trails. And the dogs absolutely love it. You know, I mean, they get out, they get to look at the scenery, the smells, they like to walk in the creeks, look at the squirrels, sometimes like a deer will show up. And so, you know, it's really like a great outing for them. And it's also time to kind of have one-on-one attention. You know, so they really like that, and it's just kind of a good way to de-stress for the dog and for myself too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what a great way to get some exercise with a companion.
Absolutely. So many people take advantage of this opportunity, and so it's wonderful for the volunteers, of course, but we learn a lot about the dogs when they get that chance to be away from the rescue. It's a different environment. It's more relaxed. They get to experience those other environments. And then, you know, we ask for that information back, because that helps to inform us about, you know, what would be a good situation for that dog, because we're always looking for that perfect match for the dog.
Oh, that sounds like a great opportunity. So, Jennifer, you notice certain dogs like to run through the water or chase squirrels or chase balls?
Yeah, I mean, there's all different types of dogs. You know, one of my favorites, and she got adopted, was Chanel.
Aw.
And she's a Husky Shepherd mix.
Oh.
And so this dog needed a lot of attention and exercise. She is a strong dog. So this dog got me going to parks. I mean, she got me into hiking because I hadn't been hiking in a long time.
Oh, great.
And so with bringing this dog out, we'd go to the different parks, you know, we'd go for runs. You know, we both get exercise. So, you know, I typically, when I bring a dog out, I try to go about like 3.5 miles, but it also depends on the dog. You know, some dogs, you know, want more. You know, some dogs are just fine just hanging out in a grassy area and just getting pets and treats and just the attention.
That sounds great. And do you also kind of get to observe how they interact with other dogs when you're out walking, or other people?
Yeah, in fact, I do write a report, you know, kind of like the dog report card. So I'll talk about things that I've observed, like if the dog is really friendly towards other dogs, you know, I'll mention that. If the dog seems to like a lot of people, if the dog kind of reacts if somebody rides by on a bicycle, you know, I'll mention that. So, you know, if the dog seems to really like children, you know, different things. So it's kind of important to, you know, let the group know about the dog. And then also I take pictures. I take a lot of pictures.
I know, I see them on Facebook.
Well, we have like a volunteer site too, and then some of the pictures get on the Lost Dog and Cat Rescue profile.
Yeah.
So it's important to, you know, show the dog enjoying themselves and what the dog's really like when they're out of the rescue center. Yeah. Because, you know, when they're at a dog event, you know, sometimes they're a little bit nervous because they've just been in a half-hour van ride, and so they don't always show their true personalities. So I like to take some fun photos of them and just let people know what the dogs are about.
That's just great. And then tell me more about your personal, you know, your personal benefits from doing this.
Oh, it's great. I mean, I get exercise, I get companionship. You know, I mean, I may, after a long day, you know, I may go in and take a dog out, and I just feel like so much better. You know, I mean, these dogs are so appreciative. You know, when you go in their kennel and, you know, put their leash on, they are so excited that a lot of times they'll do a little doggy dance. And, you know, they're really sweet. I mean, even ones you don't know, they come up and they lick your face, and it's just, you know, so unconditional. And these dogs really, really appreciate the time that you take in taking them out and giving them attention.
Oh, thank you for that. Kelly, how long has DogVenture been a program? How did it start?
So it's really only been able to exist in the facility that we're in right now at Falls Church. So, you know, at our beginnings, we were at a ranch in a rural area. But with the Falls Church location, what we have is volunteers. So that's, you know, we're in a space where people can come easily, come after work, come in for those visits. And, you know, in animal welfare, it's called a short-term foster.
Okay.
But, you know, we've really, I think, taken it to the people, taken it to the volunteers to say, you know, envision this as super short term. Like, it's not that big commitment. It's not a week, it's not weeks, it's not months.
Yeah.
It could be a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And so mutually beneficial.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For people who work long hours, people who work in an office like I do, you know, what a great opportunity to know you have a buddy to take out,
Well,
get some fresh air.
Additionally, so many people in this area may not be able to have a dog in their residence. So I get a lot of people who come to DogVenture who say, I can't have a dog where I am, but they can go and take an afternoon and take a dog out and enjoy that companionship and that company.
Yes.
And it's just a wonderful opportunity.
Absolutely it is. Well, these are just any final thoughts or happy pet stories that you remember before we wrap up?
Just that I think that, you know, volunteering at Lost Dog and Cat Rescue Foundation is really, you know, a great way to give back to the community, and you'll get a lot back yourself.
Yes. Absolutely you do. Well, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Tinkerbell.
Thank you for having us.
I hope you've enjoyed this very special episode about the Lost Dog and Cat Rescue Foundation. If you'd like more information on this and other episodes, you may visit petinfocafe.com.